Dev and Mandy to run you through all the action.
Thank you very much, Rob. Mandy, we are getting stuck into it. I am absolutely stoked. This should be a real treat.
I know, right? I'm so excited, and not only that, but it's Skyscraper as well. I love casting Skyscraper. You know this by now. Maybe you know this a bit too well, actually. And I'm really excited to watch these two teams play. I think that Japanese teams have a really interesting take on this map. I just can't wait to get into the server.
A Dokkaebi ban and a Ying ban here, Mandy. This is, I mean, punishing some potential aggressive operator play and leaving in some big hitters like Itachi.
Yeah, I think that the Dokkaebi ban is pretty interesting. Dokkaebi is very, very prevalent in Japan League. A lot of the teams, for some reason, they love it so much. And so I think taking it out definitely takes out one of those crotch operators, especially for your more cutoff or your lurk type of secondary support players. Taking off that operator is pretty important. But what that does leave in is all of your hard breach and all of your wall anti-wall denial, anti-hard breach? I'm not sure what to call it there. What do we call baby EMPs and actual EMPs? I feel like opening up these walls and starting to cut down their map is made a lot easier for the attack.
In terms of that Ying ban from Northampton, it's the exact same thing that they banned against Scars yesterday. FAV banned Dokkaebi yesterday against Crest. So I feel like this just kind of comfort bans of these really disruptive operators that teams don't want to deal with. And, well, for me, I'm still going to put my faith in Northampton for this game. I do feel like they are the ones poised to take it. FAV, though, with this revitalized roster, could well prove a thorn in their side.
There's something I do want to comment on quickly on the side of Northampton is that they are not playing with, sorry, not for Northampton, is for FAV, is that they are now playing with Rayseal on their team. And Rayseal is the IGL for this team. I think that having this upgrade on the roster and having him here bringing so much experience is going to really, really elevate how this roster forms, their fluidity, maybe even some of their strats. I'm just super excited to see what they can bring to Skyscraper.
Time to see what the young gunners on Northampton have got to show as well. Really star-studded roster, these guys. As they head onto their defense, onus is on, of course, FAV. But it looks like Nina might be going for a bit of a runner here. Quite an aggressive position.
Oh, this could be scary, but it seems like Yura has got his number already looking for that runner. He takes a little step outside the building, decides not to go for it. A bit of a tense little moment here, but Yura is able to keep his life. No damage taken just yet. Pretty quiet so far on the side of Skyscraper.
Over moment still for this Roman office. The pressure on Samurai. Looks like that wall of office has now been breached open. Handy on this upside down rappel. They need to put a little bit more pressure on here once again. Toying with the idea of getting aggressive, but you don't want to do that when Yura's on this upside down rappel.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it's not like FAV are truly pressing the attack just yet. They've only opened up the cutoff walls, they've created a point of entry, but there are still no boots in the building just yet. They're looking to see if they can find a first pick by punishing mistake rather than pressing it. And there it is, exactly that. Yura punishing Nina for getting aggressive on the breach.
That's the danger, isn't it? A good read there from FAV Gaming. Slow and steady, allowing Northampton to get a little bit ahead of themselves as the drone work starts to come through, but a lot of this control has been forfeited here by Northampton. The Lions E1D gets a little bit more information, but Shurip is able to get that eventual trade onto Yura before looking for a second. That tiny hole in the wall almost spelled death for Afro, but stays alive just a little bit longer.
Honestly, I feel like they've got pretty good value out of that roam. There's only a minute ticking down on the clock, and now what FAV have got to do is they need to translate their push from being on the eastern side to starting to open up that western side of the building as well. They need to get players like on your back balcony to start opening Geisha. There's quite a lot to do with only 50 seconds left to go, and it's still even in the man count as well. I don't mind the value that they've got out of that roam.
I mean, it's going to force FAV into getting a little bit explosive in this late round, isn't it? Garden control now, but Drum is such a choke point. And Shurip is still holding on to this C4, waiting for the opportune moment to throw it on out. Doesn't actually manage to get through that doorway, and so FAV Gaming will once again move forward. There's Shurip, an overpeak and a punish, and it looks like FAV are poised to spring into action here in the opening round. Man advantage on their side, but some key power positions still for Northampton Yukiz. Here inside of Gold, Sayachan, inside of Geisha, looking to peek. He could make this moment for his team. FAV Gaming Oh, it's perfect for him! And now the trades to come thick and fast. They cannot get the plant down. And so Northampton win the opening round on time.
Oh, that is so unfortunate for that support player coming in at the last part. He knew he had to go for that final frag in the corner of the bomb site and then just couldn't quite get the prompt off to get the bomb down. And Northampton, I just can't believe how that round ended. Dev, that one ended on time of all things. And I think that was the repercussions of them having such a successful roam through the early to mid game, right? Even though that they'd lost one player to a mistake, being punished, they were still able to play through that mid round pretty comfortably. They were able to play those long lines of sight. FAV had to be forced to go for something big right at the end, and even though they had the man advantage, they fumbled the plant just a little bit.
I think there's going to be a pattern we're going to see, Mandy, is FAV Gaming, they like to play slow, they like to play methodically, they play a traditional siege, and previously it came from Shin. Now it seems to be coming a bit more from Raciel and his experience, but while it can be great for punishing this aggression, for making steady progress, I think there's something a bit lacking in this late round, and that tends to be time on the clock.
Yeah, and that was certainly the telltale of yesterday's games as well. A lot of them were very, very long-witted. Every single round got pushed to the final seconds. Every attacker team seemed to just try to make use of the clock as much as they could and took their time. I feel like this is the sort of the telltale of today as well. Typically when we go back into a league, people are starting to try and get into it, find their rhythm again. We start out pretty slow. It doesn't really surprise me all too much.
Well, not every day you see a Cav. Shuri. Surely this won't find anything there. Surely not against FAV. I mean, it does appear to be that Candy and Yura keen to move downstairs. A good drone work, though, is going to clear these positions. Not likely to get caught off by the Cav. Candy, are you going to check the... No way!
No. Oh no,
there is
Dev.
no way!
Oh,
You've
no.
got to be kidding me! You can't do that! Oh, fortunately. On the retake, the drone does spot this Caviera. And now Shuri, the shotgun, just going to try and waste a bit of time.
Oh, but look at that. That's exactly what I was going to say as well. He has the shotgun in hand. He's not going to give up this position. And now FAV are in a position where they've got to make a choice, right? Are we going to go and clear him? Or are we going to start dedicating our time and our utility to clearing the rest of the map instead? Because, well, they've got so much info. Well, they had so much info on him. They knew exactly where he is. They might have even had him cut off on this rappel here that Zero is playing, but he's actually able to slip his way away, and there's only a minute and 30 left on the clock.
Once again, time is FAV's worst enemy, Mandy. A breach now on external Geisha. An aggressive peek from Sayachan. Candy getting inside the building finally, but surely this is so late in the pipeline.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. It feels like they've really taken a lot of time to get themselves established within this this eastern side of the map, and only now looking towards getting that shrine control. But a nice peek from Zero is able to take down Yukas.
Great start there eventually for FAV, but time is ticking away here. You're taking up to drum control now. What is the next move, I wonder, from here on out?
Oh, but look at what they just had to do with those drones. Not only do they have to start to look ahead, but they still need to worry about that elusive Kavira that could be in the ground floor. They have no idea where she's gone. And in fact, there is still a player just below that mezzanine position.
Aggressive peek once again from Sayachan. He's got a really peculiar position here. 3v5 now. Oh, but the Kiba barrier works in favor of the attacking player. Believe that Shiraneko on the other side on the Yana. What are you doing, mate? Raciel's going to take advantage of the blunder and move on in. Tries to throw a smoke out. Is he going to be able to get this plant down? A side is clear. Actually, no! Mind you, there's a bandit sneakily in the corner. Fortunately for FAV, they can win the trade game. But my oh my, that was a little close for comfort.
It certainly was, but they played a lot of discipline coming into that late round, right? They established themselves in the building, although we were a little afraid from them. But not only that, they had those flank drones going in that bottom floor, and so you didn't have to worry about that final elusive Cav player. You've got one of your entry players calling from the grave because he's dead, and he's able to make sure that FAV can comfortably go for that flood with their numbers advantage and eventually pick up the win for that round.
Well, FAV Gaming have shown that even though they can be a bit slow sometimes, Mandy, they do get the job done. I think those opening picks and being able to just rack them up and further those man advantages makes it a lot more forgiving in that late round. Going into that 5v3, even though time is short, even though there's a bandit in sight, I think it was FAV who just ended up taking down Raciel and preventing that plant from going down. Doesn't matter if you've got such a man advantage.
And that's exactly right. That is the benefit of playing slow, steady, and methodical, is that by the time that you come to the late round, even though you might be under a time crunch, what you do have is redundancy in the man count. And that means that you have more options. You can either go play the objective, play for covering that, or you can go for your flood, and you can try and kill everyone left on the site, and that's exactly what FAV have been able to go for twice. One to more success than the other, but still, they've employed the same philosophy on both bomb sites.
We'll see now what Northampton do to reply. Do wonder what the expectation is here in terms of how defender-sided this map should be. I have a squiz over at my global stats and see what Skyscraper is currently looking at. Skyscraper at the moment, I mean, only been played once in all of the Blaster 6 series. It was actually in Brazil. And it was quite heavily defender-favored, so it doesn't bode well for Northampton. They need to start racking up some defense wins here.
I think the thing to consider, though, is that you have a lot on the board for the attack, right? You have all of your hard breach, all of your ranged hard breach. You've got a lot of things like, on the side you've got like Flores, or you've got anything that needs flashbangs. It's like, even though Ying might be taken out, there's just a lot of secondary stuff that can open up the map for the attack. And so I think for defense, you can't get too complacent. Zero's just been able to take down Yuka's once again. The second opening engagements come out from Sayo as well. 1-1, once again, even in the man count between these two teams.
Oh, well, Nina's on the Solus down below. Candy, I don't know what you're doing, mate. Walking straight on in. There's players ready to meet you, but Raciel is once again able to even up the numbers for FAV Gaming. And this is quite rare, Mandy. We're seeing a very even early exchange between these teams, giving FAV a lot of time to work with, but not a lot of the pieces that they're used to using. Candy's not had a great game so far, but having Shiraneko go down quite early on that Ash, I mean, even though the util might not be wanting, it's the entry power that you want out of a player like that, still up in the server.
Yeah, this is going to be quite testing for FAV, right? This is the first time they've been in the late round execute situation, and they haven't had the man advantage. Like, haven't been able to go for the plan to flood into the bomb site and use the man advantage and the redundancy to go for kills. Now they have to test their problem solving and see what they can get.
Oh no, Nina! I don't know where he came from, but he snuck upstairs. And Yura's looking a little bit silly right now. Afro feeling a lot of pressure, had to jump back outside the building. Raciel is still outside as well. Afro's going to have to be a playmaker here, but with the DMR, it's going to be a difficult duel to make, and this easy spray down for Shoereap here. On the Jaeger with the 416, take the lead for the defense once again.
Yeah, not too bad for the defense this time. I feel like Northampton played the mid-round a lot better, especially with that trade game, and it left FAV very disconnected. It's a very uncomfortable position, clearly, for FAV. They prefer to play hand-in-hand. They play very close together, even on the attack. I'm not sure if they're going to replicate the same thing on the defense, but it feels like FAV are a roster that need to rely on, once again, that redundancy, playing the refrag, playing the crossfires, and just pushing in that man count to be able to make their ideas and their plays work. And then in that 3-on-3 situation, they just couldn't compose themselves and rendezvous in the same spot and make it work.
So when I was talking about Skyscraper stats before, Mandy, I was actually trolling. I read my spreadsheet wrong. Played 4 times so far in stage 1 this year. Of,
more than one.
Yeah, it is. I think I got confused because it's been played once in Japan specifically,
Yes.
And that result ended up only marginally defender favored, 53% defense rounds won. So, I mean, obviously incredibly small sample size, so it is good to look a bit larger. And if we do look holistically, 4 times across all the 9 regions, and 57% defensive win rate. So it's actually the second, one of the more defender-sided maps. And I mean, I am curious whether FAV are going to be stronger on their defense or on that attack side, because I think traditionally they do tend to struggle a bit more on that attack. Just nature of that slow play style. If they get read into, it can be punishing.
Yeah, and once again, North Option starting out on a very extended roam across the other side of the map, wasting as much time as they can. Now, you don't want to be running out of the breach again, or was that Sharif that did that last time? I can't remember. Whoever was playing Jaeger inside of Office decided to give away his life freak. Hopefully this time they make the decision to either fall off early together, which seems like what they're trying to do now, just falling off through Terrace and that Shrine position. Not willing to give away their lives to FAV. They know that they're there to punish the mistakes.
Yeah, and, well, Afro once again getting a little bit ahead of himself. Shurip is so confident on this long line aside as well. Looks all the way into Samurai. The 1.5, I mean, the Vector's got a bit of recoil these days, but high rate of fire, it's a headshot machine. If you can wield it, Yura now retaking this position. There was a drone ahead. Does he have the information to deliver the incision? Doesn't look like as of yet.
Scary choke point though for where Yura is, right? You've got to enter through that drum door, but there's a line of sight that's looking at you from Geisha, and not only that, you've got Shuri behind the drum itself, trying to play that little pesky position. Oh no, Zero. He's just looked away from the Jaeger on the stairs. That's Nina. The other side is able to take him down.
Once again, we're seeing FAV Gaming a little bit caught out by these re-aggressions from North Option. As Racial starts to move on forward, as Afia's Util tries to clear the shield, and yet still remains standing. Racial doesn't have anything of his own to clear it. UKs are starting to fall back though, so maybe a bit of a forfeit of that map control. Just look at the absolute fortress that North Option still have. An insane shot. I believe that was with the shotty from UKs. It's getting so difficult now for FAV Gaming as Yura is the last one on his feet. Against 5 players from North Option, Mandy, and I think we're looking at a 3-1.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that as well. Hey, Yura still stuck in that same choke point that he was at just beforehand. Couldn't quite get through that drum door. The lines of sight trained on him. North Option this time playing a much more disciplined game compared to the last time we saw them attempt this bomb site dev. They've completely changed, well, they haven't completely changed their philosophy, but they're changing the way that they're playing it. They're not holding on to these extended roams for nearly as long. They're willing to pull off, and they're willing to pull together, play these chokes because they know that FAV are taking their time.
Yeah, well, that is going to leave FAV Gaming a 1-3 deficit now. I mean, Yura's going to try and pad the KD a little bit. They will hunt him, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And now, for North Option, they're starting to rack up a bit of a lead here, Mandy. Guarantee, at worst, an even half, but FAV Gaming now, I mean, they're going to have to attack another bomb site, which is going to be very difficult to do so. T-Room Karaoke is now unlocked for North Option as well, so it seems quite likely here, Mandy, that we'll end up at a 4-1 advantage for North Option.
That's scary times as well, right? On Skyscraper, you don't really want to be going down 4-1 in my opinion. I think that this map, the way that FAV are playing it, feels like it just might be too slow to be able to open up the entire map. They're not making those cross-map rotations or the rotations around the exterior of the map, even opening up some of the windows, some of the rappels, or even extra exterior breaches to try and crack down that defense. North Option are really starting to read into the fact that they can just bunker down on the site, play a very comfortable anchor position because FAV never make that switch over and put pressure on the other side of the map.
Yeah, and I'm trolling again. I said to Karaoke, but I meant Exhibition Office, which is where they are going to go now.
Double trolling. Yeah.
I'm just keeping you on your toes.
Now you're doing the lying on the broadcast.
I know. The other day it was you, but we'll see how we do fibbing about. FAV,
5 seconds remaining.
Who are now on the attack. This is the only bomb site they actually have managed to successfully attack win so far. And it really did mostly come down to these early picks, like we talked about. Time slipped away from them once again, but at least they had a 5v3 to try and execute. I do wonder if it's going to be a sweep once again, because 2 players, including that Thermite, have actually spawned in position to just go and breach the wall pretty early on. It's not
I think this is a good idea.
Yeah, well, if running out of time on these roams, try something different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for FAV, they need to start putting pressure towards the bomb site early on. Don't telegraph your push. Don't make it so linear, because in that way, North Option sit very, very comfortably on the site. They know what room that they can take back and be comfortable in, because they know that there are no FAV players there, right? Now they're playing this much more probe-like playstyle, trying to surround the bomb site early on, and I think this is the right play.
Oh, Racial, what's going on there? So Candy tried to clear the banner battery, but it didn't seem to get rid of it. In a precarious angle from below, I mean, you can see quite clearly what's going wrong here. That is far wide of the mark. The second one will get the job done, but FEBA is actually, no, not going to be able to trick it. Does have to fall back as the wall is breached.
And there we go, that's some early site pressure immediately cutting down that upper side of the bomb site. And all of these North Epsilon players still holding on to as much of the map as possible, though. They're not all immediately falling back and running into that line of sight. They're still trying to barricade off that drum side of the building, make sure that that sweep is not going to come through before they fall off and before they try and figure out what positions in sight are now comfortable.
Shoot Reap's playing a little dance here with Yura. And I just find it so unlikely that Yura's going to check the angle. He'll take a nice shoulder peek. Oh, he might have heard that, though. And might be hearing the Solus walk around. Yura's surely good for this kill. Doesn't peek quite early enough. Does spot the player on the cross. Elsewhere, Nina's taken down Ray still on Thermite. Nina's having a great game so far, by the way. Yura still on for the hunt. Shurip is absolutely toying with him. It's a game of cat and mouse, just running around in circles. You're out around the corner, but, I mean, 100% Shurip is ready for it, and an easy spray down. A beautiful headshot puts FAV in very tough position now. 2v5, 1v5, as Nina is going absolutely nuts once again. 7-2 so far in as many rounds. Shurip to finish it off. It is flawless, of course, for North Epsilon, who have indeed gone up 4-1.
You stole the words right out of my mouth, Pep. As soon as you said this cat and mouse game, I was like, yep, that is exactly what I was thinking going through that mid-round. I cannot believe how pesky Shurip was being on that Solus down in the ground floor, taking up so much of Yura's time. Now, we didn't get to see what was going down on the bomb site in the meantime, but it just felt like FAV could never ever get an inch, not even an inch, to get into the building, except for Yura, who was running around circles on the ground floor. Everyone was dying outside at the external breaches, trying to hop in windows or something like that. North Epsilon have got a great grip on this defense.
And I'm just going to once again take a moment to talk about Nina, who's playing the Solus at the minute. 7-2 in 5 rounds so far. That's exceptional so far, and pretty much just continuing the trend is what we saw last night. Nina went 16 kills just to 8 deaths in that really close 8-7 game against Scars. I should say a 7-8 game, as they unfortunately lost it despite Nina's best efforts. But you know who else had a fantastic game yesterday? Shiraneko, who, by the way, is chosen the most difficult possible way of spelling his name. It's SRNKZ3RO, but it's Shiraneko. I apologize on behalf of everyone who's going to get confused by the difference between the pronunciation and the spelling.
Oh, gosh.
But he had 20 kills yesterday. 20 kills. Unbelievable. I think the only player yesterday to actually break 20. And yet, quite a slow start here.
That's quite a sight to hold, but like you said, yeah, very different light coming into this matchup. Yura taking a very early engagement on a Shurip on the other side of that. Jaeger decides to fall. Oh, actually, he's not going to fall off angle just quite yet. Still toying with the idea, and the rest of FAV shaping their way around this kitchen side. Maybe going for a rush. Is that the line already poised to hop in?
Not sure exactly what's going down in a minute. It looks like rather get a bit of a game of cat and mouse going on. Jaeger does start to fall back a little bit, and Fevar is taking out Shiraneko. Is really not living up to the performance that he delivered yesterday. Once again, struggling to have some teeth for FAV, as they so often do struggle on their attacks.
Yeah,
A bit
FAV once
grim,
again.
to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It seems like they're not really adapting on these attacks very much. They're still playing this playstyle where they're telegraphing where they are. They're very close together, opening up the wall and just simply holding onto that line of sight, waiting to try and punish the mistakes of North Epsilon. But North Epsilon are playing a much more disciplined game than when we saw that first attack around win for FAV. They've realized that FAV taking way too much time to get into the building. They're trying to open up these walls. They can't even make their entries work. Let's just sit here and see what happens and play the clock.
Well, you can't just wait on forever if you're FAV Gaming. They've got to start getting boots on the ground. Yura tries to take matters into his own hands. He's opened up this nice line of sight and toilet, trying to penetrate that bomb site. See those players hanging out on the A site. Bit of vert as well, which is now proving just so difficult. No top floor control, but Candy has started to dismantle this top floor presence from North Epsilon.
careful, but not before being traded out by Nino, who's just taking down Euro, that player in the ground floor, with the shotgun in hand, mind you, as well. Sayo as well, able to start retaking his gauge of position, but about to be put under the pump. His breach being open behind him.
Oh, no.
Oh, and a player inside a drum that he's just missed as well. That's Candy. Only 30 seconds left him.
Racial's gone inside, but backs on out. Candy can't do anything to support. It's just Racial now. And it's getting so difficult, Mandy, to justify what's going on for FAV Gaming. They've just lost the half 1-5.
Northampton looked very comfortable in everything that they were able to do on that defending half, I feel is the right word to use there. It just felt like they were never put under a lot of pressure in the power positions that they were in. They were able to move very freely through the bomb site, through the staircases, anywhere that you would typically have maybe a cutoff player on the attack or someone trying to sneak their way in. There sort of wasn't really that presence for FAV, and I think as a result, Northampton were able to just maneuver around the map to their liking, able to take down FAV. It took way too much time to make their presence known in the building, and now as a result, 5-1 on their defense. That's pretty good for Northampton.
It's an excellent start from Northampton and a really difficult one for FAV. I mean, just to really go in on them, I mean, this is a team that has struggled on their attack. If you look at the last 6 months of their results, they only have a 42% attack win rate compared to their 57 on defense. This is a team that really just struggles to string together these attacking rounds. And so perhaps you can say, well, a little bit of hope for them now they're on their defensive side. But I also wonder at what point does momentum come into play? FAV Gaming just lost however many rounds in a row. Northampton must be feeling so confident right now.
That's absolutely right. Now that they've gone on to their attacking half, we can see that they're bringing a slightly different philosophy to what FAV were able to bring. They're bringing along, of course, the combination of that the EMPs and the thermite charges. Not only that, but they're also bringing along the Nomad as well. And I feel like having that, especially through the mid-round where you need to worry about choke points, you need to worry about flanks, is really going to help them out to establish themselves in and to be able to push through those choke points without worrying too much.
Come on, Shiranoko, we need something from you here. 20 kills yesterday, and now a negative KD in the first half of this map. Feeling a bit of desperation, but Racefield's actually found the opening kill. Where on earth was that? Was that actually through the wall? Or was the player gone inside? Just looks like a spray outside on the balcony. Well, it's a good start for FAV. Looking a lot more confident here on their defense.
Northampton, though, are starting to cut down on this round. That single office wall being opened out now will force the defenders to now not be able to rotate through Shrine as a fall-off anymore. They have got to go through Drum, and immediately there's also another attacker there ready for that cutoff. Although most of the defenders have fallen back, bar one player down inside of that ground floor. That's the Warden. With that C4 in hand, we'll have to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, I mean, Shiranoko needs to deliver here. But Northampton have actually looked a lot like FAV here. Very slow, Mandy. What's going on?
Well, they are slow, but they are establishing themselves in the building slowly. We've already got the breach charges on the Ash. That's going to make them a little bit more mobile through this choky sort of point in the map. They're going to be able to move between that terrace and that dragon position to start to make their way to work towards these shields. Now, this is a Nomad that I was talking about a little bit earlier. They've already got the control established through the mid-round. They're not going to need to worry about their flanks too much, so they can start to dedicate the utility towards this drum choke point.
All right, Yukiz. You spotted the shield, you need to clear it. Got those 2 breaching rounds to get the job done. No ADSs to catch it, no Wamais, neither operator picked, and Shuri just starts sending it in. Bit of a pre-fire. Oh, but beautiful use of the keeper barrier to enable the retreat for Yura. Candy right around the corner, shotgun in hand, gets the down and the finish without being punished now. 40 seconds on the clock for Northampton to pick up the pieces.
Oh, not looking too good for them as well. Diffuser in the hand of Sayo, who's just outside the breach, but an aggressive line of sight means that it's pretty scary to put his head into that doorway, and in fact he does, and Candy's able to take him down from outside Drum.
My. Candy's in such a powerful position right now and continues to wreak havoc upon Northampton. It looks like we might see our second flawless round, Mandy. And this time the tables have turned on its head. Nevar's just going to try and bait out kills, bait out this run out from Euro, impacts in pocket. But at this point, it's a done deal. And FAV Gaming have finally stemmed the bleeding. After losing 4 rounds in a row, they finally have one of their own.
You know, Deb, I feel like I'm getting a bit of deja vu back to SI when we were saying in APAC, we protect, but we do not attack.
We do not attack.
We do not attack. No.
No.
And not in Japan League either, apparently. We do not attack Skyscraper. For some reason, getting through that mid-round, getting through those choke points in the center of the map, it's always those positions. It's always inside of that terrace, that dragon area. Being able to convert the map sweep into the execute is always so difficult on the interior of a Skyscraper. And I feel like I can understand why, right? You hold those choke points with your shotguns, you've got your smokes, you've got your Azami barricades that are preventing the attackers from making that push in. It's just so difficult to do, and both of these teams have not left themselves enough time to do it.
Yeah, I don't know where we go from here, Manny. Do we start to flip our expectation? Is this the chance for FAV Gaming to start making a comeback?
Maybe it is, honestly, and they're going to bring along a completely different operator in the clash. Unexpected, trying to throw North Eption off guard and play even more so into those choke points and into enabling your anchors to swing off the back of the clash info. Not only that, but it's also in tandem with the Pulse as well, who's going to be able to bring that info maybe from the ground below, maybe from an adjacent room to pull that swing perfectly.
I like that combo. Let's see what this Monty is going to be capable of for Nina. It's crazy to me when you put the 9 and 3 player, the guy that's the closest to hitting double digits of anyone in the server, on the operator that doesn't get a rifle. How about that? The Nina must be a phenomenal Monty. I'm sure there's some reason to the madness.
You know, Dev, in Japan, there is always a reason to the madness. I feel we might not ever understand it. We might not ever be able to comprehend it. We can observe it and appreciate
in Japan, Monty is a fragger. Have you seen Anderson? I mean,
that is true.
He's a killing machine on that shield operator. So I won't question it.
In Japan, they play Rainbow Six like none other. They have their own meta for this game, and every single time that we watch these teams play, they bring something that we go, what? How on earth has that worked? And this feels like another one of those things. Afro, just around the corner, there is a lurk from Shuri in the form of Ash, and he hasn't quite seen him yet on his pulse scanner. Seems like he's aware that he may be cleared out, trying to peek around these open windows, anticipating that an entry might come through.
Alright, Shuri, on this lurk, what are you going to be able to do? Afro ran in the corner and completely caught off guard by Shuri. A silent killer with that suppressor. A great opener here for North Eption. Maybe we'll start to see some semblance of grip on this attack.
Yeah, North Eption looking for this map sweep. Slow and methodical, but not too slow as they've been able to find their entry right off the bat. Lots of info on this Aruni sitting inside of that geisha hallway, but all the footing holes in that, like inside of that gold room, going into the tier room, could be really dangerous for the attack if they try and enter through inside of karaoke. Like, look at this, Yura still keeping this long line of sight, supported by the info, but Flash is able to take down one. Before being traded by Shuri, rounding the corner as well, trying to take out the player in drum. Monty though, present.
Yeah, but Shuri is a machine and will not stop. He's about to break double digits. Doesn't matter that you got Nina on the Monty. Candy's feeling a bit of pressure, wastes the C4. Oh, but great shot. And of course, the classic drop shot on the Monty. The Japanese special. It's now shield v shield. As Raciel is up against 3 players, can't even find the first one. North Eption have broken the mold. And it looks like they can, in fact, attack.
Well, North Eption used Monty, and it was super effective, apparently. That was incredible from a tandem push of Shuri. And I believe it was Nina on the Monty. My goodness, they dealt some damage on the roam clear there. They were playing so close together. Once again, that info to fragging connection came through straight away. They had so much synergy, even through a really scary setup. Those footsie holes that were going into that big, long hallway, terrifying to make their entryway through. Even a player inside of Geisha themselves, that was Yura playing that Aruni, holding onto that position for so long. Shuri wasn't afraid to take those fights off the back of the info that he had. And really, I think that was the thing that cracked apart that defense so quickly.
And certainly wouldn't have believed that we'd be at a 6-2 here, Mandy. FAV Gaming, what's gone wrong for them? I mean, you predicted them, Mandy. I'm not trying to throw you on the bus or anything, but I mean, what is the departure from your expectation that we're seeing here in the server that is leading to such a scarcely different result?
Honestly, I wish I could tell you. I've been trying to think about this the entire game that we've been watching it, and really, I just think that North Eption going 5-1 on their half, I think momentum definitely plays part of it into it. I think that being slow on the attack definitely plays part into it. But I think North Eption being able to bring along some new ideas like that to try and pick up the 1 or 2 rounds they need to close out the game might be enough here against FAV.
Alright, FAV. Need to see some delivery here. I wonder how effective this lurk will be from Shurip. Last time it was perfect, and then linking up with the Monty. No Monty this time. Flores, potentially to clear a lot of this utility. It looks like a much more direct hit this time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Different philosophy entirely. They're not looking for that probe, lurk through the map type push anymore. They're already putting pressure straight onto that bomb site. The office single wall being open does cut down one of the positions inside of office. Although there is Ray Seal and the Clash starting to play that aggressive. But here we go again. Shurip entering in through the ground below.
Yeah, what a classic little sneaky beaky like. The 2-hit barricade. Easy to walk through without breaking the barricade. Drone ahead. Camera below taken down. Could this be a little lurk up the stairs? Now there is some barbed wire ready to meet him. But he's tempted to make it happen. There is... So it looks like the barbed wire's already been cleared. He's actually just going to send it straight on up. And Shurip does spot a player, can't deliver the fatal blow. And so falls back. Doesn't want to overextend for now.
Nice discipline from Shurip, realizing that he's given away his position, deciding to fall off instead. Meanwhile, FIBA able to put some pressure onto the bomb site, taking down that single electrocution window, is able to take down one of the anchors. In fact, your smoke flare going down will take away a lot of utility for the defense. Not only that, but an explosive execute as well from the side of Nina, now 2-on-4 in the favor of North Eption.
I'm going to tell you what, give Nina a rifle and he will deliver. Now Ray Seal's found 2 of his own with that little SMG, shield on the back. It's up to Yura and him now to recompose and retake the site, as Racial will put this shield back in front of his face and start to get a little information. Spots out one player, red ping, yellow ping. All the information that Yura needs to deliver the blow. But a player on his cutoff from in the Samurai window makes it so awkward. 3 players up for North Eption, but the diffuser not planted yet. Yukiz tries to change it to make that happen. But Racial and Yura have to step up. They have to start this retake, as that diffuser is down on the ground.
Oh, scary though, from the double retake coming through the Clash really without a gun, only giving info to Yura. North Eption, they just need to hold the crossfires here. They just need to not give away their lives, play the disciplined game, close it out.
Oh, but it's so difficult. And that is the game. North Eption, out of absolutely nowhere, demolish their opponents, FAV Gaming, a 7-2 domination on Skyscraper, and their first win of 2023.
Really nice stuff from North Eption. 2 good ideas to close out the end of the map. They went up 5-1 on their defense, incredibly impressive, but what they needed on that attack, apparently a Monty and a really nice execute from Nina, and it was really fantastic work to be able to close it out in such dominant fashion.
It's a big moment for North Eption. Very much the young gunners, the up-and-comers, doing away with a team that has been a household name in the Japanese region for such a long time, and yet FAV Gaming, despite this recent roster addition, still 2 games through without a win as of yet. There's a lot of work to be done if you're FAV, but I think for North Eption, getting a convincing win like this under your belt must be a massive boost of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like being an up-and-coming roster, right? When you come into T1, you get scared because you're like, whoa, these guys are the big dogs. But then being able to take down a team like FAV, who are a very established name within the scene, big win for them. They must be feeling stoked. And
after such a grueling 7-8 yesterday that North Eption let slip away from them against Scars, it must be good to get a win, a convincing win at that. The FAV quite the opposite. You know, they were really pushed hard yesterday by Crest, but we saw some semblance of greatness in the 6 rounds that they managed to push, and they point for overtime. Nothing out of this game for FAV except a lot of questions, I must expect.
Yeah, I gotta say, in the server, they did not look like they were playing confidently. North Eption just had their number, and they were letting them fall to their own mistakes. They were letting them fall to sort of be getting rattled up, especially on those attacks. It doesn't feel like North Eption did anything particularly special to be able to take down FAV, but it did feel like FAV, the players, they were holding themselves back. They were playing with so much caution that it almost looked unconfident.
Yeah, and I'm looking at players like Nina, really upcoming stars from the Japanese region. If it wasn't for Nina, that game absolutely would not have been as dominant as it was for Northeption. Between the Monty, the impactful Monty play, and the just consistent fragging, I mean, it was next level. And Northeption can be very happy about their first win of the Japan League for 2023. We're going to go to a quick break, but afterwards we'll break that game down.